I got chills, they're multiplying.
Glee is an interesting show. At one point in its life, it had a purpose. It was the biggest thing in the world for a reason, but at some point, it got bad. But not for the reasons you might think. This isn't really a revolutionary statement. Even the most die-hard Gleeks will say that by the end of the show's life, it was a far cry from what the show once was. But I want to bring up a different question. Was there ever a moment when the show writers knew, or at least showed us, the audience, that they knew the show was bad? That it was insecure in the product that they were showing us?
Hey! You're a menace to the state of Ohio!
Glee is frequently split into two sections by audiences, seasons 1 through 3 and seasons 4 through 6. The first 3 seasons revolve around a mainly fixed cast participating in their Glee club at the William McKinley High School. And don't get me wrong, the first half of the show was not perfect. It's common belief that out of this first half, the seasons already get worse as they go along. Season 1 was ridiculous in some of its plot lines, but it established what the purpose was, a satirical dramedy poking fun at high school stereotypes, with the underlying message of cheering for the underdogs, teenage characters or otherwise. And then by season 3, it already seems a far cry from season 1.
Who's there?
Oh my gosh!
So, while there is a very visible degradation of the show, there's often a discussion among fans of when it got bad. There are people that say it gets bad by season 3 or even season 2. There's an article by Emily St. James that was what made me want to explore this topic in the first place. She says that Glee lost itself in the second episode.
Don't quite know how to put this. There's no baby.
Did it fall out?
No. You're not pregnant.
But I've gained 10 pounds.
It's probably from eating. I can see a chicken wing in there that you must have swallowed whole. You're having what's called a hysterical pregnancy. You want a baby so badly that your body mimics the symptoms.
But for Gleeks and casual watchers alike, there is a moment where everybody knows that if it wasn't bad already, it was definitely bad then. The transition into season 4 and the second half of the show. There is a pretty solid finale for season 3. The New Directions finally win nationals, Rachel gets into her dream school, and Finn surprises her by taking her to the train station to make sure that she gets to New York and follows her dreams. It very much seems as though the show could have had a great ending there, and it was supposed to be, in a way.
Apparently, Glee stars Corey Monteith, Leah Michelle, and Chris Colfer are going to graduate. The trio will not just leave school, they will leave the show.
But that spinoff was cancelled, and instead combined with Glee as is. This was the very first sign of everything going wrong. From this moment on, the show would be stuck in a limbo of narrative closure. Glee could have put a hard stop on its universe and allowed its wide fan base to speculate on any of the unanswered questions. But the Glee machine had to keep running. The last 3 seasons come with some drastic changes. With the seniors having graduated, a new group of high schoolers join the school and main cast.
Kitty is my new head bitch. She's like a young Quinn Fabray, except she's not pregnant, manic depressive, or in and out of a wheelchair.
The now graduated seniors are not completely gone from the show, though. It's almost as if the show splits itself into 2, flipping in between the high school gang and Rachel and Kurtz and the various other characters, now adjusting to their lives in New York post-graduation. The tones of each setting are wildly different, with both the show writers and the audience's attention split between these 2 completely different storylines, and neither of them get a chance to develop properly. Here's everything that happens in the first 4 episodes. Episode 4 is titled The Breakup, and while this title seems like a spoiler, it's actually an understatement. The main 4 couples of the show split up at the exact same time, singing the exact same song. So, already, The second half of the show is considered a wild dip in quality just from the first episodes, and many watchers of the show say they haven't even bothered watching past the first 3 seasons, and those who have watched them only one time say they don't even think about them at all, or try to block them out of their memory. I think that the writers knew this too. They knew that these changes would turn some longtime fans off, so they got insecure, and it showed. And where it showed very visibly for the first time was the arc surrounding McKinley's musical for that year. The episode around Glease. In this arc, it seems as though they are constantly playing tug-of-war with themselves, with wanting to try out these new bold and edgy ideas, like creating just a terrible debate around Unique's gender, adding yet another goddamn love triangle, or Kitty tricking Marley into having an eating disorder. But then they get nervous about losing the loyalty of die-hard fans, so they provide the foothold of every single senior coming back to help out with the musical in these episodes, even though they have already graduated high school. This whole arc is honestly very eerie to me. We are only on episodes 5 and 6 of this near reboot of the show on paper, and yet these old characters and plot lines walk down the halls of McKinley like vengeful ghosts. Just 2 episodes ago, they broke up 4 couples simultaneously, and yet here is every single person involved in the breakups, save for the adults, back in Ohio. All of this comes to a head during the performance of Grease, specifically in the number You're the One That I Want. The new directions are on stage, with almost every major part being played by a new freshman character. Then, suddenly, the camera switches to Rachel in the audience, and we see through her eyes.
I better shape up, 'cause you need a man.
Who can keep me satisfied?
I better shape up if I'm gonna prove
that my faith is justified.
Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure down deep inside.
You're the one that I want. You are the one I want. Ooh, 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 honey, the one that I want. You are the one I want. Ooh, 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 honey, the one that I want. You are the one I want. Ooh, ooh, ooh,
The one I need.
oh yes indeed. You're the one that I want.
You are the one I want.
Ooh, 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 honey, the one that I want.
You are the one I want.
Ooh, ooh, ooh,
The one I need.
oh yes indeed. You're the one that I want.
The fact that they pulled this bottom of the barrel nostalgia episode in the 6th episode of the new season meant that the show could never really recover. And they never did. I wanted to do a highlight reel of how bad the show gets in the time after this episode, but it honestly would take too much time from the rest of this assignment. Season 5 gets even worse. Before the season even aired, Finn's actor, Corey Monteith, unexpectedly passed, which probably caused the show to switch gears more than they ever expected they would have to. Halfway through, they dropped the high school plot entirely, switching just to the New York setting as the rest of the original cast graduate. More proof that they knew that nobody cared about these new characters. Season 6 is truly a beast of its own because the season was cut in half, and it was confirmed that this was the show's ending. The show had truly become a nostalgia Ouroboros monster, with every single moment of the show becoming a reference to itself. If they haven't given up already, they definitely had now.
We still have 6 more weeks for scheming, possibly 7, depending on network preemption.
Glee could never figure out if they wanted their original cast of characters to live out a life separate from Ohio, or if they wanted the characters to return to these McKinley halls over and over again, no matter how much plot bending it took. That one performance of You're the One That I Want would foreshadow the fate of the rest of the show. Every change would be undone, every road led back to the choir room, every song would be sung by Rachel, and Don't Stop Believing would be played again and again and again and again.